Welcome back to Every Trace YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful twist dress. That's a knot at the front, and then the waistline is opened, as you can see. It's a beautiful tutorial and it's very simple to make. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start this by drafting our back bodies. I've already drafted my back bodies, and that is what I'm going to use to draft my front body. So let me just quickly run through it. My armhole line is 8 inches, which I have here. The half length I'm working with is 16 inches, which is this. So on my armhole line, I took my bust measurement and I connected my armhole here. So for the shoulder is 15 inches, divided by 2 is 7.5, which is what I have here. So you're going to start that from your zipper allowance. This is a dress and it's going to have a zipper at the back, so you can see I already created my zipper allowance, and you can see that it's slanted because I already took a dart on the waistline here so that I won't have any zipper bulge. So here I did my shoulder slope of 1 inch, and that is my armhole line. For the neck depth, I did 3 inches width for the width, and then for the depth of my back, I'm going to use 1.25. You can use 1 inch or 1.5 inches or even more if you want it to be low. So now this is what we're going to use to draft the front. So to draft my front, I'm going to bring in a fresh paper like this. Okay, so now on this fresh paper, I'm going to be placing my back to draft the back. So it's a tie knot front. So before you start drafting your front pattern, you will need allowance. Okay, so for me, I'm using 2.5 inches allowance, which I will explain later. So you can see that before I place the back now, I've already marked out the 2.5 inches, and then I have the straight line there. So now the next thing now is to place the center of my front of my back. This is the zipper allowance. There is no zipper in front, so you're not going to be placing that. You're going to start placing it from the actual center front. So because I have taken that here, it's not going to be straight, so I'm going to use this upper part, which I have not cut. As you can see, this upper part is still straight. I have not cut my shoulder slope. That's why I did not cut it, so that it can guide me on getting something as straight as possible. Okay, so now that I have done that, you can see where my center front has shifted. So you can see center back, you can see it now that it has shifted by the 1 inch allowance, 1 inch dart allowance that I took there. So now I'm going to go ahead and use this to mark out my back, my front. So this is my shoulder slope, this is my neck depth. So you get your tracing wheel and trace this out. So I've traced it out, but I'm yet to remove the back because the length of the back is going to be different from the length that I will have in front. This is because I'm going to use this allowance that I created to create my twist that I want in front. So for that, I'm going to come up by 2 inches from the length that I have in my front. So here I'm going to mark 2 inches upward, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side as well. So now I can remove my pattern, and then I will draw out what I have there. Okay, so this is my new waistline, this is my side seam. Remember, I've used my tracing wheel to trace it out so I can see it clearly. This is my shoulder slope, okay, and this is my center front. So for the armhole, I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch here. Sorry, I don't know if you can see it, but the tracing wheel is clear. So here I'm coming in by 1/2 inch because this is the front armhole, and then I'm going to draw out my armhole. Okay, so I'm just making sure that everything matches like this, and then this is my allowance. Okay, so I have 1 inch allowance there, so I'll just connect like this. So that's my armhole. So for the neck depth, remember we did 1.25 for the back. For the front is going to be a little deeper, so I'm going to mark 3.25 inch for the back. It can be as deep as you want, it's totally up to you. I just don't want my front neck depth to be too deep. So this is my neckline. Okay, so you can see now that we have our front pattern. The only difference now is that the back pattern is shorter. The front pattern is shorter by 2 inches from what we have at the back. Okay, so now this 2 inches shortage that we have at the back is why I added 2.5 inches allowance here. So I'm going to use 2 inches from it to balance up the 2 inches shortage that I have, and then the 1/2 inch is going to be my seam allowance. So now you're going to manage that because I'm going to sew the two together. So I'm just going to sew a little bit, quarter here, so that it can make up the 1/2 inch allowance that I have. So if you know you want to sew more, you can increase this allowance to maybe 3 inches. So now the next thing now is to start creating that knot. So for that, remember I'm going to sew it back to this side. So for me to be able to sew it back to this side, I'm going to mark what I have on my waistline. So here I have about 10.5 inches. So that 10.5 inches, I'm going to mark it straight down here. But because of shortage, I'm going to add few inches to it, so I can make it maybe 13 inches, so that after twisting I'm not going to run into any shortage, or make it 14. If it's too much, you can still cut it off. Okay, so now I have 14 inches and it's going to stop here. That's the 14 inches. Sorry, 14.5. Sorry, I have 14.5 inches. So after that, the next thing I need to do now, because this part I want it to be neatly finished. Remember, the tummy is opened, so you want that open part to be concealed, to be finished. For it to be neatly finished, this part has to be on fold, it has to be doubled. So what I'm going to do, from where my waistline stops here, I'm going to double the allowance that I have here, so that I'll be able to put this on fold. So to do that now, the 2.5 inches that I measured here, I'm going to measure it here again. I hope you understand it. It's simple, just watch it over and over. Okay, and this is the pattern that I'm going to have for the front. I hope you understand that. So I'm going to cut it out now so that we can see it better. You can see that I have cut out what I have there. This is the extension that we're going to be sewing to the side when we are done twisting. So to cut my neckline, I'm going to put this on fold, so that we are not going to have any shortage there. So after putting it on fold, I'm going to go ahead. You can see now that putting it on fold means that I have my actual center front, which is here, which is the red line. So now I'm going to cut out my neckline and my shoulder sleeve. You have to put it on fold. If you don't put it on fold, you're going to have a shortage. You can see, assuming I did not put it on fold, I would have cut it straight like this, and all this is going to give us issues. So this is the front pattern and this is the back pattern. So I'm going to cut the shoulder sleeve for the back pattern as well, and the neck and the neckline. So for this, I'm going to cut 2 of each. So you cut 2 for the front, for the back, and you cut 2 as well for the front. So I'll go and cut this on my fabric now. Okay, so I've gone ahead to cut it on my fabric, and you can see that I have the exact same thing here. You can see I cut 2 for each. So this is the back as well. So now I've detached my pin. To make this easy for me, the first thing I'm going to do is to iron this so that I can easily see the crease line to work with. So I'll go ahead and iron this now, just like I did for this paper. I'm going to fold it like this and then iron it. So once you iron it, it's going to be easy for you to know where to sew on. so now I have ironed this, and you can clearly see where the center front is. So what I'm going to do now is to place them right side facing right side, and we're going to sew on this center front, this line that you are seeing. So now before I get to the waistline, I will stop like half an inch or 1 inch before the waistline. So from here now I'm going to sew upward, and after sewing it we can twist. So I've gone ahead to sew it. You can see my seam line, so that ironing makes it a whole lot easier for you. So now after sewing it, you can see how much it is fraying. That's because of the fabric that I'm using. So now if you open it up, this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and further iron this down so that it can lay flat. So after that, now you go ahead and overlock all of this. Okay, this is just a tutorial, that's why I'm going to continue like that, but you should overlock all of this so that you can have something neat. So you do this independently, and then you do this as well. So after that, you can use a stitch to hold it down on that part, and this is what it looks like on the right side. So now this right side is what you're going to twist. I hope you get what I'm doing. That's after you must have overlocked it. Okay, so now I'm going to twist it. So I'll twist it the first time. Sorry, the fabric is fraying. I'll twist the first time. I'm just going to hold this, and then I'm going to twist again, so you can see. So you just twist like this, and then you twist again. So after twisting it like this, you can see the rough edges clearly here. I'm going to flip and then sew, flip and sew on this edge. On the other side as well, I'm going to flip like this and then sew it down. So this is what we're going to have. So you should have something as neat as possible, and also don't forget to set this part if you're sewing this to your dress. So I'll do this now. So you can see now that I have gone ahead to sew it. So you just sew it as close as possible so that I can have something neat. Okay, you can see how neat the knot area is. So now the excess that I have here, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off. So you will see now that your half length is going to be the same with the front, and you can see that the hem of the front is finished now because this part is going to be open. So this is what the front looks like, this is what the back looks like. So that is the major tutorial, but for you to understand how to sew it as a dress, I'm gonna ahead to cut a flare so that I can have a complete dress. So now I have cut this flare. Now I'm going to divide this into two because I will have the front and back separately. Okay, so now I'm going to cut it. The measurement you need for your flare is your full length, full gown length minus your half length. That's the measurement you're going to need. Okay, so this is the skirt now. Because it's going to be opened on the waist area, I have attached a band to the skirt because it has to be neat, just like what we have on the blouse. So now what you just need to do is to place the skirt. The band is 2 inches for the skirt as well, just like I have it for the blouse. So now I'm going to place it on by the side like this on both sides, and then I'm going to hold this down with a stitch. So if you want it to be closed a little bit here, you can hold it here as well with stitches, but I'm just going to be holding by the side here. So I'll do that now. Okay, so you can see now I've held it by the side with a stitch. So like I said, if you don't want it so opened, you can also sew it a little bit on this part. So now the front is done. I'm gonna head to sew the skirt to the half length of the back as well. Then you're going to put a zipper at the center back. So what you just need to do now is to sew it by on the shoulder, and then you join it by the side seam as well. So on the neckline, you're going to finish the neckline with a bias or facing, whichever one you choose to work with, and then you're going to sew whatever sleeve of your choice. So I'll do this now and bring it back to show us what we have. Okay, so I've gone ahead to join the shoulder together, the side, and I sew my sleeve as well. So you can see that the neckline is piped with a bias. You can also use a facing, just like I explained. So for the back, you just need to fix your zipper at the back and your dress is ready. I hope you enjoyed making this tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. So as you can see, I just held mine with pins, but you just need to fix a zipper at the back. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.